of the things I love to do is to watch the post talks of tennis matches. And so during my upbringing in high school, I played tennis, and that started my interest. We had a tennis court growing up, and so I was always inclined to follow professional tennis. And so I follow Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, Nadal, Ken Nishikori, usually the top 10 I'm having a look at. And I like to watch the Grand Slam tournaments. Australian Open is going on right now. And so I get a lot of clues into what I do in coaching entrepreneurs by watching these post talks. And there's a couple of things that I notice the players do, and they're really, really good at it. The first thing they do is they are what I call the spectator of their game. They talk very objectively about how they played a match, almost as if they were the spectator camera, the fly on the wall, watching the game, watching themselves like they have another that's with them. And they talk very factually. They're like great journalists on their game. I played well. I think I played that one well. I served well. I did this well. I didn't do this well. The other side did this well. So they'll acknowledge the other side and say, the other side was better at this. He played this game. He played that. And it's such a commitment to the truth. And what that gives us, that capacity when we are able to articulate what's going on, just as it is I think it allows those players to convert that language into the responsibility of changing something in their game, making tweaks, and then they go to the practice court, and then they kind of, by looking at the game and looking at how they did and looking at what's coming, they have to make decisions, right? So the decisions are based on this fluency check with how they played the game. And you'll see some players just nail it in terms of what they're doing. And if things fell apart, it didn't come together. They know themselves so well. They're so self-allocating, and their self-knowledge is so high that they're able to make immediate sense of why they're playing the way they're playing. Even when they're up or they're down, they're able to explain why they're playing the way they're playing. And so that's item number one, is being the spectator. Item number two is what I call unhooking yourself from the future or unhooking yourself from the past. And this is something I see Rafael Nadal doing, and he's doing it in a post-court interview. He does it often when the commentator comes out. So you see like a Jim Courier come out or like a John McEnroe, and they're asking them questions for about 5 minutes just about the match. And let's say that they won, right? So here's Rafa Nadal, and Jim Courier says, were you planning to win the game? What was your strategy? What were you trying to do? What was your goal? And he says, well, I don't really move with optimism or pessimism. I don't make predictions. I just come out here and I focus my attention with everything I've got, and I play this game. And if I play well, things will play out well. And if I don't, things won't play out very well. What it says to me is that the way that we can play the moment is to play the moment in the best level of competency that we possibly can. Is it perfectionism? No. It is, I think, a level of involvement. Is the outcome present? Yes. Do they have a goal? Of course. They're there to win the game. But if they're preoccupied with why they're winning or they're not, or how they're going to win, it's not about know how per se or know what per se, like what they want to create or how they're going to create it, but to take on right here, right now, the best possible point that they can play. And if they play that well, depending on what shakes out, 50% of the time, if it works, they use it to their advantage and then they build on the next moment. It's like you learn the game by walking. And I will never forget what Roger Federer said in a final in the U.S. Open against Andy Roddick. He was being interviewed by a commentator, And the commentator asked him, Roger, how are you going to play Andy? You've played him like 16 times. You guys are a classic matchup. And he says, I'm going to play it from zero. I'm going to start with nothing because I don't know what Andy's game's going to bring. I don't know what he's thinking. But this game I have to treat all its own. It's a personal school. I have to learn from the game, learn from that other side of the line what's coming over, and then I'm going to play in response to this game. I'm going to be in this game, and I'm going to start with zeros. What a reflection in the creative process of how we start with nothing. We start with no expectations. We don't start by editorializing or predicting the future. We don't try to, admit positive things to ourselves or affirm ourselves that we can win or try to sort of manipulate ourselves when things aren't going well or knock ourselves out of our moods. Notice where the focus is. The focus is on now. The focus is not on the past. It's not on the previous ball, the previous game, the previous city, the previous match, the previous year, the previous injury. It's on here. And notice it's on over there, the other side of the line, the player. So the buttons that have to be pushed in order to draw forth the A game requires reverence, respect, presence, listening, and then drawing forth a manner of play that naturally will respond to what's coming toward them. And it's this ability to be agile and flexible and to yield vision off of some volatility and to bring out of the uncertainty clarity is a certain courage. It's a curiosity. It's a courage. It's an understanding. And I think this is something we all could do a better job at, is that whatever we do, whether we're creating our work, our relationships, our finances, our business, whatever we love, whatever we're creating or bringing to the world, we can better discern how our talents are. We can better discern when we play well, why, when we didn't, why not. We can analyze, we can reflect. It's the only antidote to changing our history. And that when we play the game, we can play it from the game. We can enter the game kind of expecting nothing, but ready for anything and playing it 100% with everything we've got, with every competency that we know we've got to allocate. And also, we can play it from the other side of the line. We can be ready for anything. We can enter from zeros, and we can start with nothing and treat every game and match and every moment as an opportunity for learning. There's a quality of emptiness that helps us access a certain wisdom that comes with how we sort of contour ourselves with what it means to show up, to listen, and then apply ourselves. So think about these ideas. Everybody has a certain way in which they look at how they're going to enter the present moment. And I just want to bring this to your attention because it's such a fabulous way, a place from which the player plays it, that gives rise to extraordinary performance. And there's a reason why these people are at the very top of their trade, why they're at the top of their profession. I think it has a lot to do with their mindset. Thank you for listening.